One, two, three. Harold and Brad, Windy City filmmakers. Harold and Brad, Windy City filmmakers. Harold and Brad. Da, 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 da. Three, two, one. What's going on, y'all? Brad Stevens here for another edition of the Harold and Brad Windy City Filmmakers Podcast. HD, what's going on, brother?
What's up, B?
Yeah, we have a very special guest in the house, a super talented puppeteer artist and producer, Taylor Bibat, with us. What's going on?
Hello, Brad and Harold. Nice to see you guys.
Great to have you here. So the first question I always ask people is a two-parter, and it's, what's your connection to Chicago, and what kind of art do you create?
All right, my connection to Chicago. I was born and raised in Chicago, which, you know, in and of itself, that's a connection. But I also chose to come back to Chicago after college. I went to Oberlin College and then came back to Chicago in 2007. I think 2008. And then, you know, I was part of the Chicago theater community for 8 or 9 years there. Then I moved to LA, and now I'm still part of the Chicago theater community. One, because you just can't get that community out of your heart. And now I moved to film in LA, so now I'm part of the Chicago film community in some ways too. I've worked in film in Chicago as well. So I work for the Chicago International Puppet Theater Festival, even though I live here in LA. And one of the really exciting, fun things I've done is I was a producer's assistant for Caitlin Parrish and Erica Weiss's show, The Red Line.
Did I ever tell you about where you slept the week we brought you home?
Which shot in Chicago. So I was able to come back to Chicago and work in TV. And that was 2018, I want to say, something like that. That was just, what an amazing return home.
And real quick, Taylor, what high school did you go to?
I went to St. Ignatius College Prep.
St. Ignatius, okay, right, cool, this what's up.
Yeah, and then what kind of art do I do? So I guess my niche is puppetry. I have always been interested in physical theater and puppetry, did primarily that kind of work when I did theater in Chicago. But I decided I was going to move to LA, try something new, and started working in film and TV. Both in puppetry and also in animation, music videos, live action, all kinds of stuff I could get my hands on in LA. But puppetry is really my heart. That is the way that I know to express myself and the truth that the way I understand the truth of existence to be, through visual expression.
So let me ask you this question. So when you're saying puppetry, I'm trying to imagine in my mind how exactly that looks. You're behind the strings with the puppets and your hands are above, like the Godfather pulling strings. Is that?
That is one style. So you're specifically talking about marionettes, which is string puppetry from above. There are so many different styles and techniques and histories of puppetry around the world and in America. I'm also the director of education of the Chicago Puppet Festival. Like, I'm really nerdy with you with different history and techniques of puppetry. But my personal favorite style of puppetry is when it's an Americanized version of the Japanese bunraku style. which is 3 people puppeteering 1 puppet. And in that collaboration, you have 6 hands as opposed to 2 hands. So you are able to puppeteer all of the different parts of the body as opposed to just the mouth or just the mouth and the arm or just, the 2 arms. You have 6, you're like almost an octopus. When you're at that point, and you can puppeteer the head, the 2 arms, the feet, the body, and get some really realistic and expression-rich, full movement out of those characters. So that's my favorite. We call it bunraku style, or sometimes we call it tabletop as well.
I'm gonna have to Google that because I want to see that. Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, I'll send you guys some references and links.
So you all just had a successful crowdfunding campaign for your film. It's called Empathica?
Yes.
What is your film about?
My film is about the strength of sensitivity is the theme. So it centers around 2 characters. One is a teenage girl and one is a superhero. They're living in 2 separate worlds. So one is expressed through puppetry, one is expressed through human representation, and they are both empaths or highly sensitive people. They are both struggling with their own things in their own worlds. Empathica is like sci-fi superhero beamed to Aya's bedroom. So it's like this woman in a superhero costume appears in this teenager's bedroom, and they have this conversation about the situations that they're both in. They help each other realize their strength, and then they go back to their worlds and they change their circumstances. Yeah, trying to really express that though it can be challenging to be super sensitive and to be super empathic or empathetic, it is a superpower.
What is the format? Is it actors and real puppet or animation?
It is actor. So it's a pretty unique style. I haven't seen it exactly, or format. I haven't seen it exactly. Where we have half of the scenes are humans, half of the scenes are entirely puppets. So even though and it's that style I told you about, that tabletop style. So it's multiple people puppeteering a puppet. When that character gets beamed to the human world, then she's expressed as a human. So she becomes part of the world that she gets beamed to.
That sounds so interesting. I want to see it.
You're gonna see it. Like all these amazing people in the world just helped us raise $30,000.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. And are you the writer and director of the film, Taylor?
I am the director, I'm the creator, and I am one of 3 writers. Over the course of it'll probably be like 8.5 years from the time of conception to when we actually get it done. So it's gone through a bunch of hands, right, and different parts of my life and other people's lives and the world. Like we were in the before times when it started, and then the pandemic, and then now we're in the now times. So it's just the story has changed a lot, right, depending on what era we were talking about it in. I think it's just gotten stronger and more relevant actually as the years go on.
Nice. I would have to commend you. That is some real commitment. But you wanted to tell your story, and you're doing it, and and people are supporting that. I think 8 years is admirable, and I guess some people have recognized that and want to be a part of what you're doing.
Thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. It sometimes feels like I've failed for 7 years, and then right, I'm starting to succeed, but it really takes a mind shift to shift it into no, it's a whole process. These things take time, and sometimes it's just not time for it. Or sometimes it is the reason that it has persisted for this long is just because I have to tell the story. Whereas I've had so many other ideas that, I got interested in them for a month, and then they made way for other ideas and kind of fell in the background. This one has stayed in my mind for all this time.
And one of my favorite movies, Ron, by Akira Kurosawa, was on, right? And they had this classic scene where they're attacking the castle, and the castle is fighting the other troops off, and the troops, they just keep coming in waves and waves and waves. And it's a beautiful scene, but it got me thinking, you know what? That's how we have to attack this film. We have to be like relentless. We're gonna get this film made, and we're just gonna keep going. And it may seem like 8 years, but when you get it made, it's all worth the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did have moments in the past few months where I thought maybe this is a sign that I shouldn't do it. It was that moment of doubt, is like, this obstacle, is this one of those obstacles that you hurdle over, that you climb over, or that you say, oh, it's a sign? And sometimes it takes friends and collaborators to say, no, we're going to jump over this together. I had cast this amazing young actress as the lead character 7 years ago. Yeah. So she was 11 years old. Right. She's now 18 years old. Yeah. And I'm finally like, okay, we're going to make this thing. We have to make it before she ages out completely. Right. Like, the character's different now than 11-year-old, but it's still her part. Okay. And 3 weeks before the shoot, I got an email from her mom saying she's unable to do the shoot. Right. And, that was so challenging because I had seen her in my head for all of those years. But the reason she couldn't do the shoot is because she is really successful right now. She is so successful that she literally doesn't have time to do this project. And so while that was a really hard obstacle, it was also like, oh my God, this person who I've wanted to succeed since I met her when she was 8 or 9 is succeeding. Right. And nice. So that is like, yes, that was a moment where I was like, maybe this is a sign we just shouldn't do this. And I called my friend immediately, Danny, who co-wrote this with me. And he said, well, if I'm not mistaken, you can recast a part like this. Right. Obstacle. And we ended up with an amazing young actor dancer. And so it's just, sometimes some projects are one way in your head and you think it has to be that way. And then it goes a different way. And that's not a bad thing for anybody. Like, it's all positive for everyone involved. It's just that moment of change can feel like an obstacle at times.
One question we always wrap up with is, what advice would you give a young person looking to get into the arts or looking to do what you're doing? What advice would you give them?
I would say believe in yourself. Okay, can it be 2? Because it's
Yep.
Also, don't be afraid to make messy work. I have been so afraid for my whole life of not making perfect work, and it stopped me from making my own stuff. So Ira Glass has a quote, and I don't remember it exactly, but it's something about your taste being ahead of your ability. Like, as an artist, you have high taste, but when you first start making the work, you can't possibly achieve that. So your impulse might be not to try or not to keep working. But work's not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. You have to start with something. And that's that is, I guess I don't have a ton of regrets in life. I feel like I live very intentionally. And so I don't have a ton of regrets. That is one of them. That fear of messing up and not making perfect work has stopped me in the past. So just push through, make it, and don't worry about what it is. Make another thing, and then make another thing.
Nice. That's what's up. That's what's up. Appreciate that. Yeah. No doubt. Hey, it's been a pleasure. So for Brad Stevens and
Harold Dennis,
thanks for tuning in. And as always, dream big, dare to be great. We out of here.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Harold and Brad Windy City Filmmakers podcast. Download episodes on Spotify, Stitcher, Deezer, iTunes, and Podcast Addict. And look out for new episodes on YouTube. Peace.
Ooh la la. Yeah.